road, mate. Mate, it's fair to say that we'll never be talking about the Sharks ever again. We'll let them fly under the radar. Sorry to our man Lukey and all those Shark supporters. I know that you guys haven't got a lot of attention this year, but as soon as we did speak about you, I put the mocker on you, and unfortunately
got beat.
Which was a good send-off for Shawn Johnson. But how was your weekend, mate? Talk to me. Let's go.
Well, weekend started off good.
Yep.
Father's Day was good. Coached the kids undefeated all year. Leichhardt Oval, awesome experience for the kids going in the dressing sheds and playing the music for them. Love that. And then went to Allianz and it
just went down.
It went down.
I felt the pain in your text messages.
Oh, it was,
you'll believe you? He's still wearing a hat.
Yeah, I know.
You may as well just throw that on the floor, buddy. They're done.
Yes. It was a very rough end of the weekend. How was yours?
Yeah, mine was okay. I had to work on Saturday. Actually, I don't like working Saturdays too often, but
what days are there more?
I don't like many days working, to be fair. But we had our NAIDOC board riders, so Laparoos board riders come down.
Yeah.
We've had to put it off a few times. So big shout out to all the Laparoos board riders that came down. I actually just want to send out my condolences to the Munro family. I know Tyrone. I had a little bit to do with him in the pathways, and I got to see him on Saturday and just give him a hug. And I think he showed what kind of character of a man he is by turning up and playing in that game. And I'm good friends with a lot of the Munros, and I just want to send my condolences to the family and give the players a rap, actually. The Penrith boys, I picked up that a lot of them did some posts and wrote some stuff on their wrists, and just shows you how good the rugby league community is. So
just on that, I think a few of those young Penrith players got labelled for being a bit chauvinistic and all that stuff early. You actually see the amount of good that little squad do.
Oh, absolutely. And I think a lot of players do good stuff that goes unnoticed.
Yeah.
So it's important to highlight that, there are players that do stuff under the radar without social media. They don't do it for clicks. They don't do it for likes.
Man.
And, you might have a perception of what a footballer is, but what you'll find is that the majority are really good people, if not all.
Luke Keary did one for my little team, sent them this message, just quick video clip, text him. He said, yeah, not a problem. How long? Did it, mate. Watching each one of those kids' faces light up, they just run out on that field going, Luke Keary's giving me a message.
It's unreal. Big shout out to all of them, mate. So who was your numero uno freak of the week this week?
Mate, mine was the retiring Shawn Johnson.
Yeah.
I think he's a player that obviously was a freak as he was young, went through different stages in his career. But the way he finished off that game, had that fairytale finish.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you one thing I absolutely loved, his press conference after the game.
Yeah.
And the way he handled it, and just when he broke down the last three plays, I reckon any young kid playing footy, especially any young half, go watch that press conference, go watch that interview. And just the little things where he spoke about manipulating defense, like that's just a halfback's dream. But also, he goes, that the last cutout ball come from a play that we'd set up 3 plays before.
Yep.
That sets it up, and that's what I think really good halves do.
Yep.
It's setting those plays and setting that foundation so you can do that.
I've always known Shawn Johnson is a great player and he's had a great career, and congrats on a great career. But to hear someone speak in a press conference about their younger self and their latter self,
loved it,
and break down sequences and manipulating defense, I just thought it's a very mature footballer and a man that understood the game very well. And I think he'll be involved in the game to some capacity, and it's probably a bit scary that you've got someone like him being able to teach all the young, probably Tongan, Samoan and Kiwi halves coming through the system over there. So
I just love the coach next to him when he went to go. He goes, no, I'm going to break it down, bugger. I'll give him the secrets up. And he's like, shut up.
No, he's had a great career, mate. So unreal. I'll get into my numero uno is the old man, the Godfather, Mr. Wayne Bennett.
Oh, how good is he?
I just, look, it's Tuesday today, and I know there's been a lot of conversation around it. Obviously, 52,000 at Suncorp. The battle of the two Brisbane teams. Yeah. Don't say Redcliffe Dolphins. They're from Brisbane. But I think you really got to sit back and understand how, like, to be able to change a team and completely play people in different positions in such a big game. You know, it's probably somewhere we'll touch on later with Robbo and the Roosters and where he goes now with these injuries. Yeah. But just to like swap the centers, you know, put Trey Fuller back at fullback, put the Hammer and Farnworth, swap them around, put Averillo at 6. You know, that's someone that's won 7 premierships.
Mate,
it's someone that's been around a long time, and I'm sure Robbo would be taking notes because he's got some big decisions to make this week.
Yeah, definitely.
So there's my freako of the week this week, mate. The old boy Wayne Bennett.
Well, as we said, it's been a massive week of footy. Some obviously we'll get down to the chalks, but just if you look at the betting now, you've got the Storm $2.65 favourites. You got Penrith $2.90, and leading into that round, I think Roosters was $3.50. They're now at the $7.50. So it's kind of looking like the market's saying there's 2 hopes.
Like, what does Melbourne do? They go and rest 10, 11 players and they put up a fight against the Cowboys. And I know the Cowboys' defense hasn't been great all year.
Yeah.
But you just saw the class of the Storm and the system and the players that are coming through. It was, I don't know if it was like just see Munster on both sides of the field and Rome without Jerome. It's like, wow, there's a whole nother dynamic to their game. So I think they deserve to be favourites. The person for me that makes them firm favourites is Wishart. And I think we've got to give our man Big Les a shout out because he's been saying Wishart from the start of the year.
I think we even,
and I didn't even know
who he was. I think
Big
Darcy gigged him a little bit. Kept going, mate, why do you keep talking?
I thought he was talking about his old man, the old Rod Wishart. But yeah, look, I think he could be the difference in winning the premiership. You know, like we went from the number 14 role back in the day when, you know, obviously Craig Wings and all those guys were in the 14 and changed the game. Then we went back to the big man bench, and then sometimes you'd only play probably 3 of the 4 benchies.
Yeah.
And they'd only, like, you'd play 16 players and rotate, and it was like a more of a power game. And I think South changed that when you had the Burgess boys, like huge packs. Everyone tried to fight fire with fire, have big benches. Now we're going back to the 14 is your utility, and it's hard to say that anyone's better than Wishart at the moment, and I think he could be the difference in winning a premiership this year. So I think they deserve to be favourites. He's just in unbelievable form, and he's going to obviously put pressure on Connor Watson now to have that 14 role with New South Wales.
Wow, that's a massive wrap, isn't it?
Oh, he's just getting better and better and better every week. Trajectory. I
just love what he does with the ball. He's just so dangerous.
He squares up. He'd be giving, you know, middles nightmares.
Yeah.
You know, they've got to get up to put pressure on him so in case he wants to play the pass. You know, that's what you're taught, inside pressure. But then he comes off his right or he comes off his left.
Can pass both ways. He's just drawing so many defenders.
You're a turnstile, you know, and then he gets under the post. So, yeah, they deserve to be
turnstiles.
You were a turnstile.
That was my favourite defence.
Yeah.
Mate, do you have a question mark around the Cowboys only beating what you almost got?
Their defence has struggled all year. And I know we've spoken about on the podcast earlier in the year. There was things I identified just from my Rain Man brain, you know, in overdrive when I watch defence, because I watch always from the 4-man out, and the 4-man can dictate a lot of decisions on the edge.
Yeah,
you know, you can, and I just feel like their 4-man throughout the year have got it wrong, which then has a knock-on effect across the line. Centers are unsure, halves are staying back in the pocket. Wingers might jam. You know, if you're not, obviously it starts in the middle. You got to win the ruck. But I've been watching their defense all year and it's been clunky at best. And to have a 30-point scored against you, it's worrying. But they have a team. You know, I don't think they'll go too far past week 1 or week 2 of the semis. But
we'll get to that a little bit later when we get to the preview. And we can have that.
Defensively, they're not going to win a premiership.
Yeah.
But
they certainly have firepower, don't they?
They've got firepower. Yeah, definitely.
Definitely. All right, let's move on to another little bit of a sad note. Doggies getting beat 22. Home game. I think when we both spoke about it, I think you've kind of said it each week, but you've said this could be a dangerous one. But I think we both really felt like that could have been a dangerous one, and it was.
I think they've had a big, probably 6 weeks.
Yeah.
But if you go back to Belmore, you know, the amount of energy that went into that game, you know, you're going back home, you're playing in front of all your fans. Then they go to Bundaberg. Then they go to New Zealand. Then they come back. And I don't think they're a team that sort of have bought into their ego, because Serrato's not that type of person. But I think they just thought they'd turn up at Acor and just everything would click into place. And they probably had a false sense of reality in the first minute. And I think Ciro did say this when they scored that try. Manly were really up for this game. Like their kick chase, their line speed, like really early in the game, even when they were down by 6, I thought Manly's turned up here. And look, they were flat. The Dogs were flat. No excuses. Kurt Mann is like a huge, huge loss. Like we've said it.
Yeah.
But I don't want to take anything away from what the Sea Eagles did, because they were outstanding.
Who were some of your standouts?
Oh, look, I think
you said a name and you related him to a bit of a great. I loved it.
Oh, look, who was it?
Nathan Brown.
Nathan Brown. He looked like Shane Webke. I mean, that's the energy you want from your person coming off the bench. Did he start? No, Matt Lodge and Paseka started. Yeah, that's right. Paseka, man, that guy. Like, I haven't watched him that closely before.
Yeah.
He's just a beast. And once he turned it on, he had made a couple of errors early, and once he turned it on, it was hard to stop. It was like there was so much space around the ruck, and there was so much spacing in tackles that they hit the deck, bounce straight up, play the ball. Hit the deck, bounce straight up, play the ball. Paseka and Lodge laid the platform, and then Nathan Brown. I thought it was Shane Webke in the year 2000, just coming off the back fence just every time. And I gave him a rap the other week.
You did. I reckon this is playing probably the best footy I've seen him, most consistent footy I've seen him play in a while.
It's just simple.
Just footy.
Run hard and get on, you get on the back of it. But it was like a tap that we couldn't turn off. It was like all of these forwards were just running with intent, running with aggression. We were loose around the middle. Obviously, we're a smaller pack. And Manly just came to play. You know, there's one person in particular, and it's Olakau'atu.
Yeah. I like it.
Yeah, and he's probably been, I think, quiet since about Origin 2. And I know there was a little bit of there was a suspension in there, right? So
yeah.
He's got, all right, this is a challenge you're coming up against Kikau, and the Dogs' left edge really challenged the right edge. So you've got Olakau'atu, Cherry Evans, Ruben Garrick, and Saab, and they were making good meters. And then Olakau'atu, to me, just once he got involved and once he made that little half break, he offloads inside, Brooks kicks it through, Turbo scores. It's like a little bit of confidence in his game, and it clicks. And then he's a beast for the rest of the game. You know, and it just reminds me of people in my career, and probably me personally. Like, I was a bit of a head case. I still am.
What do you mean was? Explain what.
Believe it or not. So, like, in warm-up, right? So, if I didn't feel like, oh, shit, I'm not getting my second win, this is going to be that type of game, I'd start over-analysing. This is later in my career. Early, like, you don't know. You're just like,
instinctual.
But then later in your career, you're like, have I prepared right? No, you're on the piss for 2 days the week before.
Is that not good preparation?
That's not good preparation.
Okay, just clarify.
No, but it's just like, for me, I think Hamoli looks like one of those players that needs that little bit of confidence early in his game. So I'd be, if I was Sherry Evans or the coach, I'd be just like, get him the ball in the first set. In the second set, whatever it is, get him into some contact. Yeah. Get him in the washing machine, let him bump some players off. Because as soon as he made that half break and offloaded on the inside, it's like his confidence went to another level. And I've played with players like that before. Make you have a carry early. Get the ball early, because don't wait for the game to come to you. You take the game on. So I really enjoyed watching Ola Kawatu just turn the form around, because last week I think I watched him quite closely and he was quiet.
So if you're on the field with him, you almost want him you want him having a hit as quick as possible.
As soon as possible, DCE, just get him the ball or push your front rowers out of the way and say, I'm taking a carry here off the 9.
It's almost like paddling out in big surf and you're half shitting yourself, you're half excited.
I don't surf big surf, mate.
Also about 4 foot.
Yeah, that's solid.
But you need to get into that. The quicker you get in the contact, the quicker you stop thinking and you just go into that game.
Yeah, well, players are temperamental, right? So, like I said, like a head case is probably not the best way to describe it. But there are players that overanalyze the game. Have I prepared? What's my role? The occasion, the lights, and then they do something good early in the game and they just click into gear. It's like, oh yeah, I'm sweet. And you've got someone like for example, a James Graham, right? So I'll just point him out because he's someone that I really was really impressed with that 1 year I had back at the Dogs.
Yeah.
Even if he had a week off training because he had an injury, when it was 7 o'clock and kickoff was 8 o'clock, for that hour before the game, you knew he was in the zone and you knew what he was going to deliver on the field every week.
Yeah.
Now, James Graham is just one of many players that I could name that I've played alongside, where they don't really, nothing can interfere with their mindset and the way they play. Whereas there are players that might take 10, 15, 20 minutes to inject themselves in a game, get a bit of confidence with a half break, a good ball, and then 60 minutes they're great. And then there's players that won't do anything all game that are so talented because they just don't have the confidence, or
they wait for the game to come to them.
They're waiting for the game, or they're overanalyzed. I'm breathing a bit heavy. Oh, what's that? Where's my second win coming? I better not take that run there because I might not have energy in the next defensive set.
That must be hard for players that come off the bench. And that's
coming off the bench is fucking hard, man. It's so hard. The back end of 2014, Des was loved. He loved playing 16 players, and the 17th was essentially the 18th man.
Yeah.
And he put me on with 7 minutes to go in Canberra. I swear, I kid you not. And my ass would be hanging out. And then we played against Penrith one game, and I played 10 minutes, ass hanging out, because you're just you're not getting enough minutes, right?
Yeah.
So, and then there was one game where I had to come on early because someone got injured and played 70, but it was a tough 70 because I didn't have the K's in the legs. It's a different mindset. And the best at coming off the bench and keeping intensity and not showing fatigue and not showing that they don't have their second win is Spencer Leniu, right? Yeah. We all know that he's a specialist
freak
person that can come off the bench, but he can start as well. I don't even know where we're going with this, but yeah.
You said, you throw it. No, I was just saying, it must be hard coming into the game.
You got to take the game up because there are players, and I don't even there are players that are naturally quiet people.
Yeah.
And you look at the size of him, and
he's a dead set monster.
He's a big scary human. So that shot he put on young Moran, it's like you don't want to poke the bear, but you've got to go. Your own teammates need to poke the bear.
Poke the bear,
and
push
just
it in
go,
there.
Mate. Hey, you're taking a carry. You're up first. Get into the line. Get your head in this game. Let's go, because everyone's going to feed off the back of you. You had Lodge and Paseka. Paseka was an animal. He made a couple of errors early, the first couple of sets, and I thought, oh, they could be off here, but then they just went to a whole nother level. So, disappointing from the Dogs.
I think it was a game. If you want to lose a game in those last 4 or 5 games, I reckon that second last game's probably a good one to lose, in the fact of they can bounce back, regain confidence, learn from that loss, and then have that good platform into next week.
I think
the following week.
The way I see it is I think Serrato can learn from this more than the players.
Yeah.
The players, hey, it's a reset. And, correct me if I'm wrong, if anyone's listening to this, but at one stage, I think Max King came off, Sam Hughes came off, and Preston came off. And I think he put Salmon to the edge, and we had Bailey Haywood on there, Harry Hayes, Josh Curran on at one time. You can't have that much inexperience on the field against a team
games.
like Manly when we were starting to lose to the middle. We were losing the middle. And it's no disrespect to those players. I look at Jacob Preston, right? He's only in his second year of first grade, but I see him as a future representative player.
Yeah, you said that.
If you look at that pack, like those two, Kicks and Preston are our two most dangerous forwards. If you're a back rower, you're playing 80 minutes. It's like, hey, Preston, Jacob, you're playing 80 minutes. Don't put your hand up. I know you're going to get tired. There's going to be areas of your game you're going to get a little bit sloppy, but let's get him used to that, going in the deep waters as a back rower. Right back rowers work harder than left back rowers because people naturally like to play right to left. So he's a right back rower.
Yeah.
He makes more tackles. It's just the way it is. Kicks is out there for 80 minutes, does a lot of work, a lot of kick chase. He'll sprint from marker, kick pressure. I don't know if that was a plan from Ciro, but in my opinion, I would have kept Jacob out there. I probably would have put Bailey Hayward to 13, give Salmon a rest. And I would have I would have started Curran. I think Curran's been outstanding, and kept Sam or Max, probably Curran and Max. But so I think Ciro might have taken some lessons from this.
Well, he would be watching the show, so
I'm sure he would be.
He watches each week.
I don't know if Presto had any sort of niggly injuries and they need to give him a rest. But at one point, it was just like, wow. We have an inexperienced team, but there is a whole lot of inexperience on that field.
Yeah, it definitely showed for a portion of that game, didn't it?
It did. How good's and also Lehigh Hopewadi.
Mate,
wow.
So he is the super sire for all you racing fans. As the colt, the stallion that produces horses. Big Hopper. God, he can produce a trial.
Keep him coming, Hopper.
How many more has he got up his sleeve?
Far out, man. He's a good kid, man. Great kid. Great finisher. I think he correct me if I'm wrong. It could have been Colab. No, I think it was Lehigh when Josh sort of nearly got him on the outside. He might have cut him down. Our man Josh, he's at a car. He looks like he's just carrying that little bit of injury, but played through it. And we go again, our doggies. Next week, big game against the Cowboys.
We'll get to that in the preview. Now I might need some tissues for this. It's just going to be a little somber part of the show. Roosters, let's go through this game. Well, let's go through what's happened. Sam Walker, ACL. I want to touch on that. Firstly, the grass. You watch that grass cover.
Oh, here we go.
No. But do you remember it was
going to blame the greenkeeper now?
No, but a mate was talking.
Tell you what,
it was underwater. It was underwater 2 games ago.
Yeah.
And if you go and look in the ends of that, it was sloppy as.
Oh God! Look, he had his knee heavily strapped. He's obviously had something wrong with that knee, and it is so fucking sad that a kid, no one around him, does an ACL like that. It's tragic, and especially for their season. So I'm not a Roosters supporter, but
it is.
Man, it's what is it? A 9 to 12 month injury, ACLs.
Well, they say it's they say up to 9, but as you know, you didn't have any of those, but you would have played around players, and anyone's had a major injury. You've got the 9 months of physical healing, but then you've got
mental scars.
You've got the 3 to 6 months of getting your head right.
Yeah, it's tough, man. It's tough. It makes me I kind of question, would you question the coaching staff a little bit? Not the coaching, the medical staff, and say, hey, maybe we should have rested. It's hindsight, right?
Well, I'll tell you, a friend sent it to me. It was a similar time this time last year when they were coming, or maybe it was just before, and there was a scare, and they thought he did his ACL, but it was an ACL strain.
Yep.
So obviously he's had a bit of an iffy knee, hence why the strapping was already on there.
Yeah.
And it was just one of those things. It just, whether it was 1 game or 1,000 until it just went kaput.
Yeah, it's tragic. He wasn't the only one that went down though, right?
No, it's been a real big talking point. We'll go the Cheeses one. Now I blew up initially. Whitehead, it was a hip drop. He went to the bin for the second time in the game. But and I know you've got a theory on it. Initially, I was like, you effing. But I don't think there's really much he could do.
Cheese is that kind of player where it's like he'll duck and weave and try and shrug you off. And the way I saw it is that he was ducking and he was sort of about to shrug off Elliot.
Yeah.
And Elliot's collected him around the back of the leg, and it was just a really unfortunate accident. I truly believe it was an accident.
Yeah.
And I'll disregard what I heard in the press conference from Robbo because I don't know Elliot's history in hip drops. He mentioned something with Bradford and going to the Catalans, and like it was part of his game. I couldn't speak on that because I don't know. I've met Elliot a few times, great guy. I just thought it was a pure accident. Huge loss again. And I know the Chiefs might have hurt that knee in the first half as well. So it looked ugly and it was really bad. And
watching a grown man scream on the floor, like it hit both of them, but just like there and there.
Do you want to see a grown man scream on the floor? It's me on Sunday when I've got a hangover. Fucking bitch. But he's it was just. It looked ugly, and especially when you're watching the game live, and like for me, I get Monday, you get Tuesday to analyze things, listen to presses, the emotion drops. But at the time when you're watching that live, you're like, "Fuck, that's bad. That's really bad. That looks ugly." But the more you slow it down, and you see the cheese sort of like ducking and trying to pull away from Elliot, and then he sort of happens to swing around and land on the back of his leg. It just reeks of accident for me.
Yeah. But all right, let's move on from what actually happened.
Yeah.
How do the Chooks look forward?
Who replaces him? Well, you got what about Radley? Radley's done his shoulder.
Oh yeah, Radley.
So like he's broken a bone. I watched a thing yesterday. So it's something in his shoulder. They're going to monitor whether or not he can play through pain, I believe.
Oh.
This is the funny thing about the Roosters is that I think he was better off on the edge. But then I thought their defense was missing something in the middle. So,
well, it's funny. Robbo made a comment in the press conference, and it was similar to what you said about the Chooks the 2 weeks prior about the style in which they've been playing. They've been attacking too much. And Robbo said in the press conference, he goes, it would have been nice to see us play through and get a win that it was 14, like
he wanted a grinding win.
He wanted a close game. He wanted a close game. He goes, even if we went to extra time and had a penalty, he goes, I wanted that sort of, like you always say, steely game because we'd been missing that, especially going to the final.
Well, that's what I wanted to see from the Roosters myself.
Yeah.
I think it was pretty evident that they're very attack heavy and they can score points. But I wasn't sure what kind of team they'll be when a defensive side like Canberra turn up with a good attitude, good mindset, Ricky Stewart, shut down your attack, and you got to get in an arm wrestle. That's what sort of team I wanted to see what they were, right? And then they've had all these injuries, and they did well to. I didn't watch too much of the game, to be fair. I heard that Roosters might have had a lot of ball. And Canberra.
They did, mate. They bombed a lot. It was weird. It was a game where they kind of bombed a lot of tries. They throw the pass early, they score in the corner. They didn't get, before they were getting the ball out wide, they're like Dom Young a lot quicker and he was finishing off. They just didn't take those opportunities. I think they were, once Walker come off, they were disjointed and pretty much whatever side Keary went to. And I want to take my hat off to Canberra for like a real gutsy performance in D.
Yeah.
Their cover defense was just,
and that's my problem with the Roosters. If you defend against their attack, what's their plan B? Like, where do they go mentally? Are they able to stay in a grind? Now, given there's 3 injuries, you tell me who you think is going to replace them 3, and then I'll tell you where I think what the Roosters need to do moving forward. Or let's talk about some scenarios about where Robbo goes from here.
Well, I think it's funny as well because you're going to have a depleted South side who's completely out of form. But one thing is we both know with that local derby, the Roosters South, that game always has emotion.
Yep.
And it's a tough game. So I reckon...
Who goes in for Walker?
Sandon Smith.
Okay.
I reckon he's guaranteed to start there.
All right.
Unless there was rumour that he maybe did an ankle in New South Wales Cup a little bit. But if he's fine, he's first person picked.
Who comes in for Radley?
Well, let's go to the 9 first. I think he'll play Docker Clay at 9.
Right.
Unless he starts Connor Watson there. But I think he'll prefer to start Docker Clay at 9 and then keep Connor at either 13 or 14 and maybe have Nafahu White at 13.
Okay.
That's my thought.
Did you mention Butcher might be out this week as well?
Butcher's out with a head knock.
Right.
So they really copped it with
Okay.
But you've got Suolihi returning to the side back into the centres this week. You've got, I think Suo Wong will come back into the side.
You've still got a team, right?
Can I tell you one thing? They've got a system. They believe in that system.
Yeah.
And I know they've obviously got big raps as well on Sandon. In the press conference, he goes, because I think he was 18th man the week before.
Yep.
And obviously it must have been a last minute change not to have him an 18th man. And I think probably wanted him to get some New South Wales Cup into his legs. He played Cup, and hence why he was an 18th man.
Yeah, right.
And usually would have been there. Probably comes on and probably helps him finish off that game. Yeah. So
you know a lot better than me. You've watched these players a lot closer than me, you know. So I remember seeing Sandon when he played against South last year. Was that the end of last year when they belted him?
Belted them.
Yeah,
he was on fire.
These two kids of the future. It was him and Walker in the halves, I believe. But this is like, so where do the Roosters go from here, right? And this is where I feel like Robbo is going to be put to the test. Yeah. It's like, and look, let's look for the silver lining in this for him is that he's playing a depleted South team. He's got one round to go before the semi-finals. He's got an opportunity to perhaps change some things, kind of like how I mentioned Wayne, change maybe some style of play. Fundamentally, what their game plans and their belief system and what they do and what they've done all year stays the same. But does he change something? Does he go back to that 13 where they got you playing three halves? Depending on who plays at 13. And what I mean by that was Radley was getting into the line. You've got your 6, you've got your 7. Does he play a more conservative game and more of an arm wrestle sort of style of play? Or do they change nothing? You know, it's. I think the biggest question marks over the Roosters now will be with Robbo and the way he can maybe obviously keep the team up. Like, yeah, you've got some big players out. All right. How do we change that mindset? It doesn't matter. Those 3 players are missing. Next 3 have come in. We're going to stay upbeat. We still can win this competition. Jared's coming back soon. Maybe. But that's the first thing. The mentality of the side, like that'll be his first challenge. I want to see if he changes anything in their style of game for South to lead that into the semis.
Yeah.
Do you think is there anything they need to change? He has to come up with something.
Yeah, he does. I think
to protect that young half if he does start.
Yeah.
Because this is the business then, right?
I think a lot of the time when you look at teams, and we've spoken about it, when a key player's out, that first week, I think the team lifts because they go back to basics. That's one thing you said. Everyone go, let's get back and do our job. Let's get back to basics. Let's move through our sets. Let's kick to corners. Let's build pressure. Where Sam Walker's that, like he's
we know what kind of player he is.
Mate, he'll chip and chase on second tackle if he sees it.
So what does he do this week? What does he do this week? Keeps the same style of play or does he go conservative?
Well, I think it will probably be more conservative and let them build confidence.
Yep.
I think he's a favourite team. He's earned the right to play footy, and I think they need to get back to that. And there was probably a question mark around their game of, as you said, are they going to the world too early and too many times?
Yep.
And I think they went into that game trying to play that style more. They kind of looked like they were a little bit on Xanax for the first 5 minutes of the game because Canberra just come out and bashed them.
Yeah.
Like that was the first time we saw Lindsay Collins really get bashed up by a defence.
Yeah. I mean, it's going to be – he has the luxury of having one more round, you know, because if you're going into week 1 losing all those 3 players, you'd be like, fuck, the season's done. Right? You're like, it's done. You couldn't say that you'd be confident going into week 1 or week 2 of the semis.
Nah.
Losing those 3. So he's got another week of preparation, another week to mentally get them right for the game, another week to prepare what their sort of game plan will be. And against, a local rival, but he gets that extra week to prepare for the semi. And, mate, I reckon their coaching staff would be an absolute overdrive this week. And he certainly won't be resting players. I saw there's other commentary that rest players. No, you've got to get your systems right. You've got to find out what's going to work.
Yeah.
What's going to work? Like, what are we going conservative? And we're going to keep the same style of play. I know I've said that word about 7 times, but he needs the biggest test for me is not the players. It's for Robbo for me.
Yeah.
You know, I want to see a Wayne Bennett like decision where you just put in you just throw in a curveball. That's what you're paid to do as a coach, you know, and it doesn't mean you have to change everything. Like you don't have to change too much, but just show me something. Where are you going to go? Things. Show me what kind of Roosters team we're going to see for the rest of the year.
All right. We move into the preview. Can you believe it's actually the last round of footy?
Crazy.
Like it is absolutely
well, you know
away.
What? Last round of footy. So anyone outside the 8, right? They pick an Australian team, the PM. Don't they?
Yeah.
So this year they're not playing against PNG. They're going to Turkey.
They're going. You wouldn't believe it. I've got the blue. I've got the blue singlet. I'm running water for the.
We've got a predicted team to have Mad Monday in Turkey. Yeah, look. I've noticed this year, right? There's a lot of young footy players.
I won't even take it off
in this competition that may need a trip to Turkey. So Mad Monday, like that Turkey could be a place for players to go.
There, you see, we've got a 1 to 17.
No. Can we offend 17 players or can we offend 13?
No, mate. Okay.
Like, no. All right, I'll pick one player straight off the bat. All right, he's going to get his knee done and his hairline. Young Sam Walker, he's off to Turkey. He's gone early. Uncle Nick's put him on a flight.
I just want we should congratulate him because he's the youngest person to ever get picked for the Turkey squad. Talk about kicking a man while he's down. Paul said, I mean, now you know what? Let's put it out there to the fans under this post. Right, you're 1 to 13, Turkey squad.
What a pleasure it is to have a nice hairline. You're fucked. You're fucked. That's why you keep a hat on every episode. No, I love you, Sam Walker, mate. Like, I wish you a full recovery, but enjoy Turkey, son. Let's get into the preview, mate.
Let's get into the preview. I'm a little bit worried for it's Are You OK Day for Kevy Walters after having his pants pulled down by the great man.
And then the journo.
Yeah, and then the journo absolutely poleaxed him. But then he goes from one super coach to the next.
Yeah.
Can he get them up here at all?
Well, he still believes. Like after every press conference, I don't know if it's, a few head knocks for old Kevy, but he still believes, mate. And unfortunately, Kev, I think Storm might put a bit of a score on you. Yeah, Bronx are done.
I think Storm will be looking, after they rest those players, will be looking to make a bit of a statement.
I look, I'm going to put this the other way now. I'm sick of hearing about the Broncos now because they've been disappointing all year, but everyone's like the scars of last year and Kevy and blah, blah, blah. They've had a shit year. And the players just need to have a look in the mirror and go, hey, I represent a club that is a huge club that was at one point the only club in Brisbane. Like, if I want to wear this jersey, because I remember being a kid, I wanted to wear a Bronco jersey. So there's a lot of responsibility that comes with that jersey. They just need to, like, the year's done. Turn up, enjoy your last game.
Yeah.
But if you make the 8, then I apologise.
Will be interesting.
Mathematically, they can still make the 8. Yeah. But by my calculations, they won't.
Is there anyone in that Turkey squad there?
Oh. It could be nah. They've all got a head of hair. They do their vlogs. You got Walsh. Like, they're just
well, there you go. There's one bonus. They get to go to Bali, not Turkey.
None of them. You have to have a full head of hair to play for Brisbane. That's why they're going terrible.
Yeah.
That's why they're going terrible. You have to have a receding hairline to be winning.
Yeah. All right. Now we move in. This probably could be this could be the game of the round. The clash of the spoon.
It could be.
The clash of the spoon.
No, legit. I'm fucking looking forward to this game. I legit am.
I reckon this could be one of the most watched games all week.
Yeah, I've played
Tigers 227, Eels $1.64. Where do you go?
Can I toss a coin? Is it Campbelltown? Like,
who do you think deserves to win more?
Oh fuck, that's a great question, and I don't know. Like, I think Tigers deserve absolutely. Actually, it's not even a tough question.
Yeah.
Like with the experience that Parra have, and you know, and the amount of inexperience and young players in that Tigers team. You know, Para should be extremely disappointed. And no doubt they are, and I don't want to get into them, but Tigers, you know, I'd like to see them win. Some good young kids in that squad.
I think there could be one of those games where Lockie Galvin steps right up.
Fucking Spoon or second last. Like, who gives a fuck? You went shit. You had a shit year. No, it's serious. I've had 2 fucking spoons. Like, I know what a spoon. I've had a spoon. I've had 2 of them. I was captain for one of them. It sucks. If you don't make the 8, it sucks. You may as well have a spoon. It doesn't make you any better than 9th.
Yeah.
You had a shit year.
It's just that cherry on top of being shit.
Well, I didn't get the fucking spoon. Someone could have presented me a spoon, you know? Like,
do you reckon they should present a spoon?
Oh, that's fucked.
That's so fucked.
I've had 2 of them. They suck. Maybe 3. No, we'll keep it at 2.
Leave it at 2.
I think Mace has had more than me. Willie Mace, and I think he's had Roosters, Cowboys. Where else has he had a spoon? Sorry, Mace. That's what you get for fucking telling people I'm not taller than 6 feet tall on your fucking levels, you bastard. I'm 6'1".
6'1", love it. I'm almost 6 foot. If I had more hair.
5'13".
Yeah, 5'13". All right. The big clash. Rabbitohs now $3.90. Roosters $1.26.
Yeah.
They're saying that Jack Whiten gone.
I saw Jackie Boy on Saturday. He was maybe a cuff injury. He was going in for scans. Yeah, look, rivalry. This is the game where I want to say where I want to see what Roosters performance we'll see. Will Robbo change too much? Who's going to play in those positions? Joey Manu could be one going to 6. We don't know. We just don't know. Roosters to win. Like, it's not. I don't even need to break that down.
I think if you're an East fan or a South fan, you don't care what happens all year as long as you win 2 games.
Exactly.
The first and last game.
And that's where it's a concern for the Roosters.
100%.
Because Russell Crowe could turn up with a book of feuds. And they might have 2/3 of a reserve grade side in there.
Yeah.
But they're playing the Roosters.
Yeah.
And that's all Robbo needs is more of his key players to be taken out because the book of feuds comes out. They got the gladiator helmet on and they just come out full throttle and just start taking heads. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's a concerning game for Robbo too.
Definitely.
They'll get the win.
I think they'll get the win.
They'll get the win, but
in Sandon and in Robbo we trust.
There could be some suspensions and some sore bodies going into week 1 of the finals.
Yeah. I reckon that's got to be one thing, East and South. Like, you actually hate as a coach knowing that you've got one of your biggest clashes the week before you have round 1 of the semis.
Oh, as a
like
fan,
when they're both going good. Yeah, it's awesome as a fan.
This is annoying because they didn't have them in round 1 of this year. And because they haven't last year because in Vegas, last year it wasn't either.
No, I think it was.
I think it was round 2.
Was it?
They built it for around 2 or 3.
Oh, you might be right.
You know what I mean? So it is. I get what you're saying.
Because,
you know
what I mean?
Like having your 2 biggest clubs, the rivalry week before the semis. Let's given that, you know, South.
But imagine South are going good. Like, imagine they
That's
both
what
go
I mean.
good or vice versa. It doesn't
100%.
matter. The last thing you want is to have this game.
Yep.
And the thing is, you don't want to be resting players for this game because it's such an ego battle and they never want to do it.
It's kind of the same concept, right, mate? It's like, because there could be a reason why it's not round 1 because you don't want your stars going at it.
Yeah.
Right? And then you want to build it into round 3. And then you could potentially derail both teams going into a semi-final because you play them in round 27.
Well, I think it happened to us a few years back.
Don't refer to Roosters as us, please. Ever. Let's move on to the next one. No more Roosters talk.
But I think it's definitely happened both ways. That's the poor South.
Tommy going us.
I said that.
Like us Sharkies.
I was talking to Champy about it. It was good. I said both of our teams are running 3rd. Yours is just last. Your men, the pleasure.
Oh, the pleasure. The absolute. I don't even call him the pleasure. It's the absolute. He doesn't get the pleasure of the pleasure. You know what I mean? Oh, Dragons Raiders. Wow. Haven't they fallen off?
What
Imagine scoring.
Here?
What did they score? It's 44-12 with 10 minutes to go.
Yeah.
44-40. Yeah, it's confusing, like how they can be so inconsistent. I mean, fairly good roster. Watched them, against the Sharks. They were very disappointing. A lot of inexperience in key areas of the field. Centers.
Yeah.
Ravalawa, I think, might have had a bit of a Barry. Like edge players, inexperienced. Like Sloan can be like found out. He scored 2 great tries and let in one. When he defends at you've got teams really targeting him when he tries to ghost in the line. They've had a disappointing year. Raiders will win.
Yeah. Oki Jubilee. Raiders going to get the win.
Yeah, look, this is like your season's been on the line for 3 weeks, Dragons. Like, I can't expect them to go, all right, let's turn it around now. We're going to make the semis. And like, I don't know what the mathematics is. Like, I'm sure you do, Mace, but if you really wanted to be in the top 8, you needed to perform better 3 weeks ago. It doesn't like come down to round 27. You've had 27 rounds to fix it, really, haven't you?
Yeah, definitely. I think we gave him a rap for what he'd done with the squad probably a few weeks back, and they've just tapered off.
Well, who has he signed? He's got Val coming.
Yeah.
Who needs a freshen up for sure. I heard they might go after Gutho. He's just missing a few players in key areas to make them his leadership. I'd say Gutho as his leadership.
As a leadership.
He did look old last week.
Yeah.
With the black boots. I was like, fuck, Gutho's age all of a sudden.
He shaves.
He could be a turkey nominee.
He could be a nominee.
Turkey nominee. Yeah, I'll have to. You know who could be a turkey nominee? Angus Crichton. Did you see that? Like,
what was with that?
Against the Titans, shaving his head, and I thought he tried to swap sides, like he just wanted to stay in the shade. With that sun beaming down, I was like, oh, fucking Crichton could be in the turkey team. But where were we going? Dragons. They're missing some experience in like key parts of the field. So Fleno is the right person for the job.
Definitely. Be interesting to see where I think Sloan made massive improvement this year from last year, but there's definitely obviously defense is a huge
still developing.
Yeah.
It was good to see when they played the Sharks and Will Kennedy just stole the ball off him. It was just like that little battle between them two. And and then you could see the try he scores against Parramatta last week. Through that kick, I think. And anyway, he ran 50, 60 meters. Unbelievable talent, but this needs some experience around him. Some more experience. Ben Hunt needs some experience around him. Yeah, there's a lot of young forwards in that pack as well. But Raiders, they'll be going for 3 in a row. They've knocked over Penrith. They've knocked over Roosters. I think they'll be too good, even at Oki for the Dragons.
All right. I'm very interested to see, will he tip against his Dogs?
No, I can't. No, I can't. I don't want to. I don't want to. But after last week's performance, we get Critter back. Still, I don't think people understand the ramifications of losing Kurt Mann. That's how much of a rap I have on Kurt Mann and what he did for that side.
In the middle.
In the middle. Small body, but defensively sound, tough, good feet. We've lost a lot of our attack and we've lost a lot of toughness in the middle. Yeah. And that's no disrespect to whoever's playing in the 13. We're missing a lot now that Kurt Mann's out. I'd like to see the rotation change a little bit. I'd like to see Jacob Preston stay on there for 80. Critter does come back. Who else is there? Birdo he's going to be okay.
Yeah, Birdo should be there.
Cowboys playing at a core, is unbelievable for the Dogs. But let's not dive into it too much. But you look at the Cowboys, they've got to travel, they've got to come down here. And the importance of winning this game will determine whether they finish 5th or 7th, I believe.
Well, cool. It's a really important one depending on what happens in the Eagles game as well. Because if the Eagles are to roll the Sharks and Cowboys are to roll you could finish 7th. As low as 7th, which means you're then playing.
Are we guaranteed 5th if we win?
Yes.
Okay. So we need the home semi, no matter what.
We need the home semi. Not just that. And we'll talk about this in a little bit, but so you guys win, you get a home semi and you either play the Dolphins or the Knights.
Yep.
Or you lose and you're either playing the Eagles or the Cowboys again and you're doing it away.
Yeah. Sucks.
Like that's a massive difference for week 1 in semis having to travel.
And then you got to win another 4 after that.
Like you don't want to go play at 4 Pines.
No way.
And you probably don't want to go up to North Queensland.
No.
So because it's going to take a lot out of you whether you win or lose.
Yeah.
It's a massive game for your team.
It's exciting, you know.
You know what? They're the thing with the Cowboys they're a team that can start real good. They've got firepower, and if you guys were to leak points early,
we should have beat them a few weeks ago when we played them up in North Queensland.
Mm.
You know, we turned the ball over when we were in front. We shot ourselves in the foot. We were the better team in that game, I believe. Obviously, we lost that game. But like you said earlier, losing last week at home in front of your home fans off the back of this, you know, this whole Bulldogs rise, you know, Belmore going off, people tipping cars, and it's probably the perfect timing for them to have that loss. But you're coming up. This is big boy season now. Like this is like where the experienced players stand up. They know the pressure, regardless of the semifinals. Like this is pretty much a semifinal, right? Because
definitely
we want to keep 5th. This is where the experienced stand up, and 1 to 17 in that Cowboy side has a lot more experience. Especially, you know, Nanai, Cotter. Is Cotter playing?
I believe so. This is obviously done pre.
Yeah, I mean, the experience you've got.
Yeah.
Taulangi, you've got Felt, you've got Drinkwater, you've got Dearden, Taumalola, a wealth of experience. Whereas we're just running on excitement, hard work, connection that we've built towards this.
Yeah. It's early days for you guys in that building facet.
Yeah, so but in these bigger games, it's where the big boys stand up, and
you're backing them to do it.
I'm backing them to do it. Let's move on.
All right. We've got Penny Panthers at home, $1.13 against the Titans.
Yeah.
Can the Desi pull one out of his ass here?
Not a chance. Absolutely not.
Sorry, Des.
Done.
All right. I'll tell you one man that's not going to Turkey, Des. He's got some beautiful, luscious locks of Des, doesn't he?
Yeah, but he shaved his head. I remember he did shave his head at one point. Yeah, he's got a proceeding hairline. Not a receding. He's a proceeding.
Yeah. All right. This very interesting game. We got a 4 Pines Sunday afternoon footy. Like I said, team lists aren't out, but Turbo's not, I don't think, playing. This is a big game for both teams.
Well,
He's
surely
Eagle
can't
Sharks.
play. He's grade 3 AC.
Yeah, no way.
Where can Sharks drop to? They can't drop. They've got 3rd. They've secured 3rd.
No, they're 4th.
They're 4th. Sorry. They can't lose. They can't lose 4th.
4 and a year. No, they're not with, unless they were to lose by a trillion, and the team running 5th or 7th wins by a trillion.
See, this is interesting because of the Turbo factor. I don't think Turbo will play this week. Guaranteed a semi-final no matter what.
Yeah.
Depends if it's a home or away, right?
Yeah.
They get the win.
So it's a lot to play for them because you want a home semi.
Yeah.
Will Sharks rest players though?
Oh, you wouldn't think so. You want to keep momentum, right? And they were a better team for a long part of that game against the Warriors. You had some pretty fucking unlucky calls. Like the
few of the high tackles.
It all like him being, and I was like, Jesus Christ, where's our game going? Just spoke about head knocks the week before, and then you see that completely accidental. Does he hit him in the chest or something? I don't know. He gets like they make contact. It's like rugby league is like fucking joining the army and complaining about getting shot. You know, like you know what I mean? It's like fuck me. Like that's common sense. Like don't send a kid off for that. Don't manipulate a game. If I feel like it's manipulating a game?
Yeah, manipulating a game.
Because they lose a player. Warriors come back, but then we get the Shawn Johnson farewell. Unreal for Shawn Johnson, shit for a Sharks supporter and a player. So, this is a tough one. This is a tough. If you wake up Olakau'atu too early and go, here, big boy, you're taking and carrying the first set. I think they can show another. Like, hey, we can have Turbo miss this one.
Yeah,
4 Pines, fucking tough place to play. So I'm gonna go Manly. Unfortunately, sorry Sharks. I'm like, this might be a good thing because I spoke about them last week and they jinxed them.
Yeah.
So
you're gonna mock them and it's gonna reverse mock them. We're going for the reverse mock them. It's all right, Tom, relax. Tom edited.
Yeah, Tommy's fucking.
He's blowing up. Pipe down, Tommy. All right, we've got the battle for the eighth position. Newcastle Knights, $1.72. We'll go back. McDonald Jones.
Who would you rather see out of these two teams in the 8? Honestly,
1 billion% the Knights, because I said to Champ about 12 weeks ago that the Dolphins won't make the 8, and I'll never live
That's the only reason.
That's pretty much the only reason.
Yeah.
Aside from that, who would I rather see?
You wouldn't rather see the Hammer, Trey Fuller, Herbie Farnworth, Katoa?
Yeah.
Like, no disrespect to the Knights, but I want to see the Hammer in full flight, you know? Like, you see...
In a semi-final.
You see Kalen, Bradman best. But then you look at what Farnworth's doing, you look what Trey Fuller's doing, you look at what they've just got these players you want to watch. They're a team I want to watch, and like Newcastle aren't a team that I'm going to turn on.
They've just got that excitement, like you said. They've got the excitement factor. Like the Hammer, every time he touches the ball, you're like,
hell, man.
You sit on the edge of your seat and you watch Trey Fuller. You're like, wow.
And then you get to that point. You look what Herbie Farnworth's doing. You're like, fucking hell! Like this guy he was a machine for the Broncos.
Yeah,
you kind of think that he goes to a new club, and then players sort of drop off. Like there's some clubs that are like palliative care. You know, players go there to die. Right, their careers just die.
Which is like
I'm not going to say what club. Or I went to palliative care. I went over there.
Yeah,
but it was fucking. The best thing I ever did was go to palliative care over in the UK. But you see what I mean, right? You think he's going to go to Dolphins, career's done. He's just gone to another level.
Another level. They've
because no one knew what sort of Dolphins we're going to get, right? You was just like,
no,
fuck, a new club, like it's going to take 10 years.
What they've done in 2 is just incredible.
Yep,
absolutely incredible.
Looking forward to this game. Just purely on players that I'd prefer to watch. I want the Dolphins. I'm going to back the Dolphins.
Do you reckon there's like any chance that Wayne Bennett he might even just do another reshuffle?
How many shuffles can you reshuffle?
He's going to play. He's putting Mark Nichols at halfback.
Fuck, it wouldn't surprise me. He'd do so. I'd want to know how much is he behind these genius moves too. Like he's at Wolfie, like because there's big raps on the assistant coach Wolfie.
Is there? Who knows?
Christian Wolf.
Yeah, I know that, but like sometimes I just think
about good things. I'm like. Maybe Wayne didn't think of this.
Or maybe it's just, have you seen Wayne?
But he's done it so many times.
Videos of him around, looks like he's on the Murray Cod and he just starts
I heard I swear to you, I've had on good authority, he's fallen asleep in plenty of video sessions. He's out cold.
Maybe he just dreams it up. Wayne sits there and goes, I got it.
You know, how many micro slips? He'd have a micro slip and just wake up and he's just been to the future. He goes, all right, we're playing that game.
Maybe that's who he is. He's McFly. It's Back to the Future.
Micro slip.
Too good old Wayno. All right. Well, mate, we've got a very exciting week of footy.
Yeah. We do.
Yeah. Teams going to Bali, teams going to Turkey, and teams going to the finals.
All right. So, in all honesty, like, write in the comments if you are on Instagram, whatever.
1 to 13?
1 to 13. Who's your Turkey team?
Yeah.
Because I don't really want to disrespect someone with the.
I'm in the. I'm
you're the blue shirt. So.
I've got the blue shirt.
Tommy, what's your hairline like? No, you're sweet. You're sweet.
He's sweet.
All right. See you next week, mate.
See you next week, buddy. Bye.
What are you prepared to lose today? Set a deposit limit. For free and confidential support, call the number on the screen or visit the website.